Just checking to see that it's also translating on, showing up on Facebook now. Okay, fantastic. I'm gonna check again. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Wow, time seems to be flying. Already 22nd of April. Wow, just a week off now from another brand new month. Hope you're good. I'm just checking to see that I'm, yes, I can see it on my phone as well. Brilliant. So hope you had a wonderful Easter break holiday if you celebrated. Hope you had a good one with your loved ones, with your family. Yeah, hopefully it's still, you know, so we're still celebrating the Easter Monday. Taking some time out, just my family are here as well celebrating it. So yeah, a special weekend, and condolences to the people that were affected in Sri Lanka. There was terrorist attacks on those churches there. So really sad what's, you know, the trend we've been seeing with places of worship being attacked, churches. I mean, the 3 churches in Louisiana being burnt, and you know, that was also you know, a terrorist attack. I would call that. White supremacists set it off. And I'm glad to hear that donations have been increasing to help rebuild the churches there. My heart goes out to the people affected there. And it's just a really, you know, terrible, crazy world we live in, but we shouldn't allow these evil people to win. We need to continue, you know, fighting onwards and holding true to our values and principles, and not letting hate win. So just wanted to point out, I hope that, you know, you guys, if you do have anyone that you know that's affected there, my heart goes out to you. Prayers to you. Anyone affected by the churches being burnt in Louisiana as well, my heart goes out to you. So you know, sending prayers to anyone affected. So yes, this critical period we're in right now with the market, in particular with Bitcoin. So many discussions. I mean, I've been saying this over the past few months now, that we're getting to a stage where, of course, we can't time tops and bottoms, but certainly we can look at, you know, several indicators that give us an idea of whether there's an uptrend, or, you know, whether we're stagnating and staying in a particular range, or whether this is just a pause right now, a break, before we, you know, resume and continue with the bear market. However, there's been some positive signs, as you guys have witnessed for yourselves. The volumes have been increasing over the last few months. Number of transactions have been increasing. The sentiments have been changing. And so the expectation that a floor has been established at that $3,100 mark for Bitcoin, and several indications showing even on the charts at that point where the price has exceeded the 200 EMA, the exponential moving average, was one of the indicators that signaled a bullish move when we saw that breakout going past 4,500, 5,000, testing all the way up to 5,400 over the course of the next of the weeks that we experienced this month. So I think it was what was it, say April the 2nd that kicked off. So you know, this is again, if you're a trader, if you're this all depends, how you're operating in this market, what your intentions are, what your objectives are. And as a trader, you're certainly looking for opportunities. You're looking at the increased the return of volatility in this, in this industry as something of a good sign, because it also indicates interest, indicates sentiment, and obviously where we are right now, we can deduce from the positive moves, from the way the market is reacting to the uptick in transactions and volumes, as an indicator for for the grounds for the belief that we have reached a bottom, and that we're now in the accumulation zone and waiting for another another level, another range to be established before we can then kick off with a official bull run. We need certain confirmations, certain confluences that we're looking for to establish that. Now, as I mentioned before, we're still early. If you were still looking to accumulate Bitcoins or cryptos, projects with real use cases, with strong fundamentals. We've discussed things to look out for previously, and asset allocation is another area that we need to focus on, and also how we spread our risk, how we maintain our position sizing and whatnot. There's different strategies that we can use. But again, it depends if you're a trader, if you're a hodler, a long-term investor, if you're a miner, or wearing many hats and covering many bases, and just looking for opportunities to solidify your positions, consolidate your positions, and looking to not only mitigate your risks, but knowing where you are. Being in the space where we are right now, overall in the technology adoption cycle, we're still pretty early, in my opinion. So the opportunities, especially as a long-term investor, to get in at this point and accumulate, in particular Bitcoin, that's going to be very valuable. From the amount of the collective developments that we've seen within the bear market, it has been quite astounding, frankly speaking. It's some of the big household names we've been talking about. Fidelity is one, and I will speak on JP Morgan actually in a little while, because there's new features that have been added to one of their services. But starting off with Bitcoin, is still holding on to. In fact, I think it's added to its dominance. It's over 52% right now. And in fact, I think the market is slightly wavering, although we're still seeing some altcoins pump because of some positive fundamental related developments. I'll speak a little bit on that shortly. We are seeing a slight shift right now, although the market the majority of it is in the green. It's the market's pumping at the moment. We're still seeing that there's a preference for Bitcoin right now. It's still, that dominance it's holding on to is reflective of that. And although I'm glad to see the market responding so positively at the moment, it's still early days, in my opinion. And so market cap, that's expanded. You guys may remember when we were looking at the market cap at 140 billion, 150 billion total market cap, and now it's sitting at 178 billion, right? That kind of volume being added to the market is very indicative of a of a bit of a bullish move right now, but it's still not confirmed. There's still several things that we have to look at. We have to wait for retests of previous lows if they occur. You know, how their strength, how low will it go? How, you know, what sort of tactics do the bears and the whales have? Is this it? Is this going to be, or will we see the market being previous lows being retested at least one more time before we see another bull run, an aggressive run up to 6,000, potentially 6,200. So we need to see some more confirmations before we speak with more certainty on this. But Binance, for example, I mean, Bitcoin was up by 1% last time I checked, but Binance still was at 7th place, still ranked quite high up in the top 20. And yeah, it's up by 4% the last time I checked today. Still positive. It's still basking in the you know, developments it had recently, migrating from Ethereum to their native Binance chain. And so I believe the deadline, April the 23rd, is tomorrow, actually, to at least withdraw the ERC20 tokens from the platform. Otherwise, you know, the mechanism, there would be another way to have the BNB tokens onto the native blockchain, but the deadline that they set, at least to withdraw that from the, you know, in terms of the ERC20 tokens, is tomorrow. So yeah, if you've been holding on to it, we did create a guide, and we posted that on the main page for you guys to follow if you're still holding onto BNB coins, the ERC20 version. But yeah, make sure you get that changed to the native, the BNB tokens that will be accepted on the native blockchain. Just the sooner you do it, the better. You have 24 hours. And then, yeah, Augur as well have been doing well. And they were up by over, I think it's 12 or 13%. That figure keeps changing. Yeah, they're ranked 30th at the moment because they're doing well recently because they've been added to Coinbase. And so, of course, the Coinbase effect is real. We even, you know, when we saw, although it was highly anticipated with Ripple, a lot of these tokens during the bear market have suffered quite, you know, steep discounts. But again, where we are right now, a great opportunity to accumulate. And you know, if you're a long-term investor, these coins, these tokens with strong fundamentals are going to do, in my opinion, very well in the future. And so, yeah, you are definitely going to see more of the top 20 coins pump up as well in the future, as we see. It's just as soon as the market has established we are, you know, the bear market has ended and we're off to another potential parabolic run in the short to medium term. You will also find that altcoins will do extremely well. You know, they will take that as a sign, a positive sentiment in the market that will take, you know, advantage of those moves. And people will more likely than not look to accumulate and also use arbitrage on the different exchanges around the world to be able to make quick gains. But certainly accumulating altcoins, flipping them, and being able to then use those funds to purchase either more of the altcoins or actually turn it back into Bitcoin and accumulate Bitcoins is a popular way to be able to grow their portfolio as well. So again, if you're a trader or long-term investor, you've got different strategies, but the the name of the game is to earn and maximize opportunities as and when you can, and then obviously mitigate the risks that you face in doing so. So where we are again, great time to accumulate as far as I'm concerned, because even if it does go any lower than where we are, it retests previous lows, I doubt that it will stay there for long. I mean, just showing by all indicators in terms of what's happening on the ground. Bitcoin is undervalued. Some of the top 20, top 30 projects are undervalued right now, especially if you take a look at the previous all-time highs. I do expect if they continue to stick with their roadmap and continue to add more features or partnerships or more development in regards to strengthening their project, adding real value to their community, to not just the project, but the community also responds positively and help to drive the rate of adoption, not just in that project, but it has literally a ripple effect on the industry as well. As they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. And so it will, projects that are with strong value, real world use cases, alongside Bitcoin will do well to attract more investors, more users, more developers, and different stakeholders into the industry. So Bitcoin, it has been phenomenal since December last year, when it hit the floor, the bottom at perceived bottom at 3,100. That it gained almost 70% since then. So where we're standing at right now, last time I checked was 5,000. Let's see, $5,300. Let me see where it is for. Yeah, 5,351. It keeps changing, obviously, but on Bitfinex, and yeah, it's still holding its. That it has to be above, from what I'm seeing, has to be above 5,000, at least 5,000 to maintain the current price, the zone where it is right now, and to retest some of the previous highs. And so yeah, the fact that it's added over almost 70% since the last bottom at 3,100 is testament, is part of, it's another clue, another indicator. And just this month alone, it's gained well over a quarter, 27, 28%, changes slightly 25%, but for this month in particular. So that is, it's clear that the optimism is there, it's returned, but the question now is to do with sustainability. Can it maintain that area? Can it maintain that level of demand? And are these just tactics used by traders and whales at the moment to, try and trap buyers and sellers? Because we're still at that area where it could continue to pump out and test 6,000 or beyond that. But then it can easily just, reach at 5,400, 5,400 they established, recent high they established, and just crash back down, correct sharply. And so we have to, just based off some of the moves that we've seen in terms of how Bitcoin has behaved in the past, nothing is obviously guaranteed, but especially with Bitcoin, it can get pretty volatile very quickly out of nowhere. And so sometimes it just completely moves with no particular fundamental reason, no any apparent developments affecting it, just purely on technical factors. Whales and traders spot an opportunity to do a short squeeze or do a bull trap, and dead cat bounces and whatnot, and try and trap some of these retail investors to make more money. So we're at that point where we have to wait for a good setup to come to us rather than trying to rush it and chase in the market as a trader, that is. And then as a long-term investor, you're looking at the last 3 months as you've already made some gains if you have been coming in, and looking to hold along for a number of years. If you've just in the few months been investing, you've already made gains, and those invested way before the parabolic rise that we saw in 2017. You're already making gains, and so those that came in during the high, during the hysteria that we saw late 2017, they're still yet to see their full returns or the full appreciation yet. However, since then, so many developments have happened in the space that we know, just based off the things that we've witnessed being poured in, time, money, resources, all levels, all areas where rate of adoption is concerned, level of awareness is concerned, level of engagement is concerned, that has not been reflected in price yet. And so what we've been seeing is that price has been continue to be depressed. And we're waiting for more confirmation before we can finally say we are technically, the bear market is over and we're about to face another bull run. But we are in this accumulation stage right now. That's more or less established. Investors, traders, miners are looking at this critical time right now, where even if it does get lower and retest previous lows, we are very confident that it's not going to stay at that point for too long, just based off the amount of interest, renewed confidence and engagement in the market, and also the collective developments that have happened. So, this is something where trying to time the perfect entry. As a trader, you're looking for the perfect setups, as perfect as possible, that is. You're using indicators, or if you do naked trading, you're not. You use support and resistance levels and other factors that you're looking at on the charts. And then, but on the fundamental aspects of this, it's just been going up, steadily up, by all metrics and all of the developments that we've been witnessing over the course of last year, in particular with the bear market being at its most intense. Even though we saw that rock solid floor, rock solid support at 6,000. Do you know how many times we saw it being price trying to crack that? Several times, 6, 7, 8 times before it finally gave way, and it quickly went down to 4,000. Then, as low as 3,100 last year in December. So, but it didn't stay there for long. So these are, key particular zones that we're looking at, and previous highs and previous lows. Historically with Bitcoin in particular, it likes to retest them in ways that we can. They say 2020, hindsight is 2020, and that history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it certainly does, right? So we can look at how it's not just how heavily it's been discounted, But in terms, you have to also compare it with the fact that at that point, the level of development was lower than what we've witnessed in the here and now. So 2017, definitely majority of it was hype at the time. A lot of investors that came in weren't clued up about the fundamentals and the actual technology, and they didn't do their due diligence as much as they could, and really went into with that false premise that you can just get quick rich. Although people at the time, if you were a seller of bitcoins and you were trading at the time, when you saw that parabolic run, you did make substantial amounts, but then you had to have an idea, to accumulate and to close your positions and whatnot. You have to have certain knowledge there. But the market, I mean, the amount of times it showed overbought conditions on the RSI or on the Scott. If you're a trader, you you must have been like, when is this going to correct at some point? So, especially when it reached that 17, 18, 19, 20,000, there were traders that were calling for an imminent, crash and a correction, which we saw, and many that came in at the top were, they were burnt to an extent, and some of them didn't return back. But you had other, again, this is why, if they understood the long-term potential of the technology, of the value in this space, it's not just the financial aspect, the financial gains, but it's actually the fact that it's, evolution in terms of money, in terms of finance, in terms of how we, exchange value, data, with the fact that it's decentralized and taking power away from the middleman. And it's not just that, it's not just challenging ideas in the finance world, but ideas worldwide as a whole, as how we interact and share value, transact value. And so, and just based off the fact with the traditional spaces and companies and organizations, so many scandals, so many big names being caught out, being corrupt. That level of distrust in the system, in the elites, is one of the major reasons why we've been seeing this backlash against bankers and governments and politicians and whatnot, and looking for alternative ways to be able to take back control of different aspects of our lives. And so, it's not just the idea to make money quickly or anything. It's actually challenging all areas, all notions of how we perceive value in particular is one big area. It's many things, and technology is evolving at such a quick pace that we as a people, as a society, as nations and communities, we're still yet to fully grasp what this actually means to our lives as we know it, our children's lives, grandchildren and whatnot. So for future generations, how millennials are already changing their behavior where money is concerned, where their financial security and how they invest. As I said in the previous Zoom, it's changing the game completely. And so you have all these big names, household financial, banks and financial companies looking to scramble and adapt to a heavily changing world. It's constantly, we're at a point where the previous notions that we held, it's being challenged. And people are simply voting with their feet and voting with their wallets. And at an age where we can go online and put recommendations and leave reviews and whatnot, although some of them might be fake, the majority, how we're seeing it, this overall trend in holding companies holding banks and governments to account with the help of, with this advent of social media, is, with advent of the internet, advent of digital technology and devices, and many different things that we, the advances in IoT, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So many things are happening. Web 3.0, as they say. So it's we're getting to a stage where now it's only a matter of time. It's not a case of if, it's just when. The rate of adoption will take place, not just with crypto and blockchain, but with other areas of our lives. As I said before, we will see, in my opinion, we will start to see a mass tokenization of assets, all types of assets, even unconventional ones. If there's someone out there somewhere in the world that values your whatever good you have, it could be a jacket, it could be anything, clothing, it could be exercise equipment, it could be anything. At some point, everything will be tokenized, digitalized on the blockchain, on different platforms. That it would be able, you would be able anywhere in the world be able to exchange and transact and own a piece of an asset somewhere. Not even just household items, but even property. In fact, we've already been seeing real estate being tokenized, and so we are in an age where we have Uber, Airbnb. We have companies that actually don't have inventory. They don't own these cars. They hire people that own these properties and own these cars that are part-time drivers, flexible hours and whatnot. Choose any time of the day, week, whatever how long you want to stay somewhere in someone's property somewhere in the world. That is the beauty of bringing having this shared economy, and that's only going to expand. And so this is a complementary evolution that I'm seeing, what we're all seeing. And so this is only going to continue to expand, grow, not just in terms of the value, financial value of this technology and the culture and the ecosystems and infrastructures that are being added, but the value in terms of the increased efficiencies, the time saved, the money saved, the ways we're able to create value in a way that possibly maybe even 5-10 years ago it wouldn't have been seen. This is it's really hard to grasp the depth of impact this will create until it happens. And so to have that foresight, to have a vision of where the world could be, like we're in the present right now, but where it could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where the level of adoption could be for Bitcoin, for cryptos 5 years from now, 10 years from now. This is why I say we're still early in terms of having that long-term view and visions of how our world is changing. And how we, as one of the early adopters of not just this space, but technology in general, how we're quick to be open-minded to different opportunities and avenues to improve many aspects of our lives. This is only looking to help, propel people with the right mindset. And so just because you're somewhere in Africa or Asia, any developing area you can think of, a jurisdiction, nation, you may not have access in the traditional space of certain privileges and certain opportunities, but with the advent, with the level of development we're seeing in technology and where money is concerned, where finance is concerned, we've seen so many instances where Bitcoin has already allowed people to generate an income, even with mining with Venezuela, people have been supplementing that income, and also protecting, preserving their savings at the same time from exposure to hyperinflation with the Bolivar, with the local currency. And so these examples, real world use case, these real examples that we're seeing, where it's impacting people's lives for the better, do carry weight. They carry weight, and you know that the ideologies behind it is also spreading, not just in this area, but you know, not just with this technology, but other aspects of our lives. We're demanding more power back. We're looking to take control back, and we're already seeing this in the political movements, of people demanding, you know, more independence, more control over, you know, their borders, their finances, their say, you know, and so on. And you guys have your election coming up soon, in 2020, presidential election. So, you know, this is going to be another, you know, another development, another evolution that we're seeing. And this is what I'm saying, we're still early on. And so even while we're seeing these short-term fluctuation in price, and all these, you know, developments happening, even with setbacks, where regulations is concerned, or even breaches with hacking is concerned, we're still on course. The way that the industry is developing at a rapid pace, and a lot of the moves being done is, you know, they've been done in silence. They've been done behind closed doors. So, you know, what we're seeing now in the mainstream isn't reflective of what's really going on fully on the ground. And so a lot of this, either way, whether you're coming in to really engage with the process and the space and the industry, and not just to gain, you know, not just to have financial gain, or whether you're looking at this from a proactive approach as a business, for example, you do not want to get left behind. You do not want to have your competitors outsmart you and take over in the space. It's really a case of, you know, the way things are moving, several trends going off all at once, and converging together to show there's a big movement, with people worldwide demanding change, and technology is a part of that, helping to drive it to, and it's happening at a faster rate than before. The unprecedented developments we're seeing is going up at an exponential rate. So, so again, have some long-term perspective on this, even though we're looking at the prices right now, and looking at all these developments occurring in the market. Still keep that long-term vision, long-term focus. And so right now, even though, again, great optimism in the market right now, but again, as I said, if you're trading in particular, or even accumulating, and you want the best possible price, the best thing for you as a long-term trader is to dollar cost average. So if we do get opportunities for the price to go lower than it is and retest that 5,160 or 5,100 or even 5,000, and the reason why I say 5,160 is a support level where the market has retested it at least twice, and it may retest it for the third time. And if it goes lower than that, and the bears try and take it below that breach that 5,000 area, to put a dent, you know, in the bullish moves in the party, put a bit of a damper for the bulls parties. You know, this is something that is expected of Bitcoin in terms of how it behaves, price action wise. We are expecting a retest of some sort, but yeah, that it can even go below, was it 4,500, even potentially as low as 4,300. But again, that is very hard to judge right now. We have to wait for the market to give us a perfect set, as perfect as possible, and you know, it will try and retest it. There's more bullish momentum and a bit of a push coming from that intent. If there's more volume being added, more transaction being added, and that reflects it in the price, and we see it retesting that 5,004 above 5,400 again, and see if it can go and establish another recent new high, 5,600, even 5,800, then it will give us another clue that there's still a clear, the positive sentiment is still there, that the sellers are still waiting for a particular move to happen, the bullish run to get exhausted, and then they pounce and come in just at the right time to set it off again. And they're waiting for that exhaustion to happen in the market before they jump in. Because if you saw what happened before we saw that recent breakout happen, it was ranging, it was consolidating, and they found a perfect opportunity for them to spark off another, temporary bull run, temporary push up, and a breakout ensued. And so it's still holding. This is why the market is getting excited. It didn't immediately come back down to what was it, 3,800, 4,000. 4,200. We didn't see that immediate drop down. It actually held its place. We did see a bit of correction, but actually it's been holding steady. In fact, it's been holding beyond that 5,000 area. And so this is why we're waiting to see what the market does, because this is still dangerous. It can be an opportunity for traders or whales to set up market makers to set up an area zone where both bulls and bears can actually be trapped. And so you have to wait for, as a trader, I'm sure you're already aware of this, but you're looking for a good setup for you to take advantage of. So this is the accumulation stage where we are right now before we see the next bullish run. And so, look out for that 5,200, 5,150, 160 being retested. If it doesn't get to that point and it still maintains where it is right now, above 5,300 and so on, and continues to make progress, then that is making it the case very strong for the bulls that this is just continuing to set up for the next run, and break that key psychological barrier at $6,000 per Bitcoin. So expect that to be retested if we do see a correction at some point. 5,200, 5,160. So if it breaches where it is right now, the most recent high, 5,400, 5,500, 5,600, if it goes on to set those, test those areas, then I definitely see at some point there might be a bit of a correction at that point, because it's a new recent high that it's created, and the market will expect some level of correction back down, potentially to 5,200 or even 100. But if the momentum is there, if there's a catalyst that sparks off that push to 6,000, then it is clear that the market is getting ready for a bull run, and that the accumulation period has already been established, and now we are able to confidently say, okay, that 3,100 was the floor, and very unlikely that we're going to return back to that area to be retested again. And so anyway, use this period now before we reach 6,000, before we get to see it retest recent resistant levels. And not financial advice, but use to whatever strategy you have. If you're a trader, you're looking for opportunities, whether you want to be able to short, you're certainly looking for the perfect setup. You're looking for I don't know why I say that word like that. Exhaustion, bullish exhaustion. You're looking for if you use indicators, you're looking for overbought conditions and other factors that give you an idea, a clue to you want to see those resistance levels being retested, and then see some sort of breakdown, some sort of correction happening. And so this is why the market is like very unsteady right now. It's still, the ones that are not in a hurry to call this as a bull run or the end of the bear market, they're waiting for more confirmation as well. So if we see the sellers trapping buyers and taking it down to even as low as 4,000, 4,500, those areas, if it does go there, man, I very much doubt that it will stay there for long, just based off the volumes and transactions that have been increasing month on month, week on week, day by day. It's very hard to see that happening, but you never know. I mean, these wells can scare the market at any point in time, and we'll be able to either way establish some level of floor over the next few months, I would say. Just being able to make sure this is not a fluke. This isn't just a sellers looking to trap buyers and create more volatility and then dump on the market. But so far so good. I mean, it has consistently been on the rise, volumes, transactions, and whatnot. And that optimism is bearing out in the price. And it's doing so consistently. So this is why it's very hard right now to judge whether this is actually the actual, very beginning of the bull run that we're witnessing, or whether there'll be one or two more horrible surprises left by the bears before we, continue onwards and upwards. And so, potentially 1, 2, I would say once, I think one more time, if we're seeing the volumes continue to go up and transactions sustain, bears may have just one, in my opinion, just one more opportunity to go and retest previous lows. But even it is still possible that it could do it through 2 or even 3 times before we see another move upwards and stay on that bullish uptrend. And so anyway, that's with the Bitcoin. Now, we had news with Ripple recently as well, that the payments will be going live on Google Play, live on Google Play and Apple. What do you call it? I have Samsung S9, the Galaxy S9. So yeah, what was I going to say? So Google Play and Android, Apple, the App Store as well. You'll be able to download XRP payments. That they have an app that will allow you to pay with Ripple for Google Play and Apple Store users. XRP backed payments can be made. And so, yeah, again, another positive development for Ripple holders, for those looking to get more confirmation on, in terms of, remember what we keep saying in terms of payment, and a clue in terms of rate of adoption, and the value being created, not only for Ripple, for the industry as well. When you have more payment merchants accepting cryptos, it's actually a positive sign for the space and for its users. It's building onto that infrastructure and the ecosystems within these companies and networks and platforms like Google and Apple. I mean, what more can you add to that? It's another positive sign for the industry, and XRP payments does have the ability to convert the supported smartphones into point of sale system, and it does, by focusing on these ripple back payments, and so I think you'll be able to get it from there. You can even check on. I'm not going to do it now, but you can go on your Apple or Google Play Store and download that XRP payments app. And even companies, they can start accepting Ripple payments as well in their stores and whatnot. So big news for Ripple. And also what recently as well, Wise Ratings had announced that XRP payments would be accepted on Skype, which is owned by Microsoft. So again, another indicator that adoption, it will help to increase adoption, and having more platforms accepting Ripple or any cryptos out there is a positive sign, as I said, and adds help to appreciate in terms of the price and its usability in the future as well. So and also South Koreans have been investing even more in cryptos, and it's adding to the positive sentiments in the market. There was a report out saying that there's over 7% of the surveyed people, they had reported that they invested, was it $6,000 on average? And that's up, by 60-something%, 64% from 2017. That they're looking to buy even more cryptos over the long term as well. And it was the local daily news in South Korea, so Arirang Daily News reported that, and that it's isn't just young people. It's not just millennials. It's actually those in their 40s and 50s as well. That's increasing their investments, and so that, and with South Korea, they've been facing changes to regulations, and they've suffered some breaches to their exchanges as well. But that hasn't deterred market sentiment, investor confidence and sentiments there in the nation. So people are still looking to invest in cryptos and also use it, whether it's for daily transactions or infrequent transactions. But the use has certainly been, going up. Levels of transactions have been going up. So that's 6,000 average investment. That's really incredible for the South Koreans, and it's mad. But that's in South Korea. Also, they have a premium that they place, kimchi, I think it's called, where local traders actually have to pay a premium for Bitcoin on particular exchanges, and so there's arbitrage opportunities there as well. And so South Korea and Japan, we know that they've made Bitcoin legal tender, and they've been flying in terms of the rate of adoption and exchanges. Even though with the breaches that we witnessed, they're still looking to improve, making improvements throughout the industry, and still build on the foundations that have been created and add to the infrastructures in there. And then also recently with JP Morgan, they're adding a new feature to their blockchain technology as well, in terms of the Interbank Information Network, IIN. It's used by over 220 banks around the world, and they've added a new feature to help reduce the number of these errors are made, the global payments have been rejected because of some mistakes initially, you know. And it does help with cutting down delays and you know, saving time and whatnot, and they'll be able to see these payment details in real time. And you know, it can instantly verify a payment whether it's actually going to a correct bank account. And because with the traditional transactions, they can actually, you know, be rejected days after they were even sent. So that's a time cost basically. And you know, whether it's account numbers, sort code, you know, any type of typos you can think of that affects that transaction. So with this, it's not live yet. It will be launched, I think, in the fall of this year. And you know, it will again help to add efficiency and reduce time and whatnot. And yep, it will be free to use at the moment, but they may actually create a subscription-based model around it. And they're also looking to add more developers as well to their roster and work with fintech firms and be able to help develop applications that will help them, you know, get access to data modeling, also file transfers and messaging services and whatnot. So again, JP Morgan is using, you know, features of the technology that it's well known. I mean, more recently in February, JP Coin, it was really for their institutional investors and to help increase settlement operations, the efficiency of that. And it's really for themselves, for their own benefit. It's a closed blockchain that they have. It's permissioned, so you have to be approved by JP Morgan yourself before you can actually use the coins. It's not on, you know, exchanges or anything like that. And so, but at some point, they're thinking that they might even expand that to retail customers too, to have some consumer use. And so, again, you know, this is why we've seen a lot of these big names, big companies doing pilot testing first to see that it will actually hold up in the real world and adapt it to their to their needs and what their objectives are. And based on that, if it's successful, then they expand it and launch it later down the line. And so, you know, it's obviously, it misses the point of the idea of crypto. And, you know, it's not decentralized. So, you know, it's just really for their own use. And they really didn't need to have a stable coin. They could have just used the US dollar. They could have used the fiat as they do. But again, they're just trying to get in and use the technology features and benefits for their own cachet, for their own benefit, and to be able to attract more institutional clients to their database, to their own roster. So I think they're getting on the bandwagon, so to speak, because they can actually do business without using it, without any problem, and still have them market share. But you know, especially where we know James Dimon has criticized cryptos in the past and called Bitcoin a scam, and now he turns around and creates his own JPM coin, and you know, it is, and now having more developers come into the company and being able to add to the progress that they've made so far, and looking to dominate in the future in this area, especially where settlements is concerned. So, you know, it's being compared as a rival to Ripple, which is an existing service, and you have, you know, a lot of their partners and clients are banks, are financial institutions and companies, and so on. So, yeah, so you have JPM adding to their additional their business and, you know, key features of the technology on that. and help them cut the mistakes being made where these transactions are concerned. And then you have the Chinese looking to issue business licenses using blockchain and artificial technology. So Guangzhou, have I said that right? It's a big Chinese city. And yeah, it decided to issue business license using blockchain and artificial technology. And so, and this is the first of its kind in terms of business license. And so literally just with scanning a code and being, starting a company just with a few clicks, it's you can imagine the bureaucracy and the stress that comes with setting up a company anywhere in the world, but they putting it on the blockchain and using artificial intelligence to help these startups to not only file these applications, but also open a bank account with it, submit a tax invoice application as well. And they do that using a WeChat mini program. And WeChat is, highly accepted platform. It's integrated, and it's almost like the WhatsApp, the Chinese WhatsApp of China. So the fact that it's already integrating it into existing business platforms and models as well, just in terms of it's making it more seamless and reducing friction on that side of things as well. That is, in fact, I think this will have a ripple effect with other businesses around the world that decide to look at this and see that it's doable and cut down bureaucracy, increase efficiencies, and have a level of, accountability and being able to make it so much easier for businesses and entrepreneurs to be able to have their startups done in a way that helps them become more efficient and grow their business quicker. And so this is a great development for the Chinese, but also if you think of how this could be applied worldwide, there's definitely strong uses there as well. And so this definitely helps cut down a lot of the wasted time, some of the businesses and, some of the applications that are rejected, or so some mistakes happen and, people keep submitting again and again, and the time it takes from the time that you apply to the time you're accepted, and then, actually you're effective as of this date, that all takes time. And energy. So for them to make the process easier for these companies to do that, business owners to do that, it's a great thing. And if you remember, we've got Guangzhou. It is alongside with Shanghai and Beijing. They've actually become big areas for blockchain technology, blockchain legislation in China. And Guangzhou has also been selected as a HQ for a new blockchain alliance as well. And they have something like 54 companies that are focused on, focused on blockchain use in finances, trading, and funds. And so again, it's a big deal for the Chinese, but good sign for the rest of businesses around the world, that if that could be applied on their area, in their jurisdiction, that'll be great for them too. Setting up a business just like that within a few scans and clicks, who wouldn't want that, right? So many things pop in. I am out of time at the moment, so I've got to wrap this up. But yeah, guys, stay calm, as I keep preaching and saying. Where we are right now, we still have to wait for price to be retested at those levels that I mentioned. Again, if you're a long-term investor and accumulating at this point, you're going to do extremely, in my opinion, we're going to do extremely well over the long term, and great time to stack up at different price points, even if it goes as low as 4,000. 100, 4,000. I doubt that it'll even, breach that 4,000 level. But you never know what the bears have in store for us. Again, a great opportunity to be able to dollar cost average either way, no matter what happens from here on out. As a trader, you're definitely looking for a good setup to come your way and wait for the bullish exhaustion to happen, and for those resistant levels to be retested and be able to capture a moment where you'd be able to short it if that's your strategy, if that's your plan. If you're just looking to take long positions, you're definitely looking at this point as a positive sign, but you're still gonna wait. You're gonna be focused on making sure you get those confirmations and confluences before you make your decision. So either way, regardless of what you do in this market, as always, do your due diligence. Never be risking what you can't afford to lose, and just sensible advice. And whatever your strategy you've decided to employ, just be good with it, be safe with it. Don't lose sleep or stress yourself out. At that point, you'll know that you're over leveraged. If you are, if you're stressed out, then that gives me an idea that your strategy or your plans may not be set properly. If you're a trader, certainly as a long-term investor, you're looking at this and know and be confident in terms of the timing. Timing wise, you're still coming in at an area, a zone where you'd be able to dollar cost average and make the most of where we are right now, and hodl that. Again, depends if you're looking to hold on to your portfolio for whether it's 5 years, 10 years, or even 20, or even beyond that. Hold it and pass it on, forming a part of your inheritance, your potential children or existing children and children's children and so on. Again, all depends on your risk profile, whether you're conservative or aggressive. It depends what you have already allocated, how you, as we say, with practicing asset allocation and whatnot, and how much percentage you've determined, whether it's evenly, your position sizes are evenly spread, or whether it's done in a way you'll be able to maximize certain things. Again, also it depends on where you are in your life, whether you're retired or whether you're just starting out, going into college, or in the working world, whether you have kids already, or you're still single and you still haven't established a family. Like everyone's path and journey is different. Your objectives are different. Your goals might be different, and that evolves over time as well. It's not static. So whatever you decide to do from here on out, always do your due diligence and so on, and don't just treat this as a money-making exercise or something to be just extract the financial value only, but look at it from a point of view of the value, the intangible value you also derive. Just the more knowledge you acquire in this space, the more connections you have, the more you actually take individual action, and you make independent moves that I can't explain the level of confidence and inspiration you get when you take control of your own destiny, your financial destiny and independence. But just it has a ripple effect in all other aspects of your life too, and you'll know exactly what I'm saying by that, because certainly my life has changed because of that, because of making those decisions in the last few years. And it's been I'm not gonna lie, it's been an incredible roller coaster ride, ups and downs, crazy messy moments, and some triumphs and wins, but we know this is not just a short-term thing. This is a marathon. This is a long-term approach that we have, and you know, we have shared visions and of where we're going to go, not only individually but collectively, and this actually has a ripple effect and helps the community strengthen its position and help to add value over the long term. So with that being said, I definitely gotta go. And thank you very much for tuning in. I will on Friday share and present the next long-term research recommended project, the coin of the month, and I'll be able to break that down and you know, get in front of this as we always do with the market, and be able to accumulate and take advantage of the opportunities that we have in the here and now. So with that being said, have a fantastic week, guys. It's been my absolute pleasure as always. We've been, you know, I know it's been a crazy ride during the bear market. Some people are just not even like that. They'll come back when it's you know, the end of it and the bull run is established. You're going to have some people returning back and getting excited again. But we have done it. As far as I'm concerned, this is a win. As far as I'm concerned, we're in for the long run, and the best days are always ahead of us. You know, I'm excited for that, for the long-term journey, and within that, the not just the evolution in terms of technology, but the evolution we as a community, we as investors go through. The growth in mentality, the growth in confidence, and all the intangible benefits of being in the space beyond the financial gains is incredible. It's priceless. So enjoy the ride, as they say, and enjoy the journey. You know, ups and downs, all sorts of things will be testing our patience, and you know, questioning, questioning certain things, but we're right on time, right on cue. Just keep building, keep persevering, and keep winning. There's no reason why we can't continue to elevate. As far as I'm concerned, I see it as a glass half full, not empty, and we're only going to add. Only going to continue to evolve, only going to continue to rise. So can I get an amen, please? Because it's Easter Monday right now, okay? So this is, you know, a time of resurrection, of course, but a time of renewal as well. And so may you all, yourself, your family, your loved ones, everyone in your life and networks, may everyone be blessed, be happy, may be fulfilled, and it's a journey, and all I know is that we're heading onwards and upwards. So with that being said, bless you guys, have a good Easter if you celebrate it. Happy Easter Monday, and I'll see you on Friday with the coin of the month, with the long-term research. So with that, peace out, take care.